Good evening, Marv Meisters. Frank Meister here, coming at you from the desktop. Wanted to come on for a little bit and talk about another case that I've been working on. Since the Delphi case information is real slow right now, considering the gag order was put out in place last week. So I'm going to cover a notorious serial killer out of Indiana that took place in the mid to late 80s to mid to early 90s. And his name is Herb Baumeister. Picture on the screen here is a picture of Herb Baumeister. And he was a notorious serial killer out of Indiana, like I said, in the mid to late 80s, early 90s. And I wanted to cover it since there has been here lately new developments on the case. So I wanted to go over a few things with everybody and get you started. It more than likely won't be but 2 or 3 parts that I'm going to go over with you guys tonight, if that. If not, I will continue on Herb Baumeister in part 2 or part 3. It just depends on how long it takes me. So, yeah, this is Herb Baumeister, the notorious serial killer between the mid 80s to mid 90s. And most people know Herb Baumeister as a successful businessman with a wife and 3 kids who lived in a big house on a house farm in suburban Indianapolis. But Baumeister led a secret life, guys. Murderous life at that. He picked up on young men in gay bars and brought them home, back to his home at Fox Hollow Farms in Westfield and killed them. Now, like I said, this was back in the mid to late 80s, mid to early 90s. In 1996, Hamilton County Sheriff's deputies found thousands of decomposed and charred bone fragments on Baumeister's property just west of US 31 on 156th Street in Westfield, Indiana. Who is Herb Baumeister? Herb Baumeister was born in Indianapolis in 1947, married wife Juliana in 1971, and the couple had 3 children. According to several media sources in the late 1980s, he founded the successful Save-A-Lot thrift stores operated at 2 locations in Indianapolis. Juliana filed for divorce in January of 1996, just months after police questioned her about her husband's possible link to the disappearance of several young men, according to media reports. Now, when Baumeister's wife and children left for summer vacations, police believe Baumeister picked up on young men at gay bars, the LGBTQ community, however you want to say it, took them to his home and strangled them to death, which gave him the nickname the I-70 Strangler here in Indiana. Baumeister burned the bodies, pulverized the bones, and disposed of most of them remains on parts of his 18-acre farm. Authorities found the remains of at least 25 people on Baumeister's property in 1996. Baumeister fled the country after he refused to talk to police who were investigating the missing men. When questioned by police, Baumeister's wife told investigators that one of their kids found a human skull on the farm in December of 1994. Baumeister, she told investigators, told her the skull had been a medical specimen that had belonged to his late father, who was an anthropologist, according to media reports. According to media report, Baumeister, 49, shot himself in the head in Pioneer Provincial Park in Canada on July 3rd, 1996, and died before he could be arrested and put on trial for the killings at his home. He left a 3-page suicide note in which he apologized for spoiling the scenery of the Canadian park where he killed himself and apologized for his failing marriage and crumbling businesses. His suicide note said nothing about the missing men and the bones found on his farm nearly 2 weeks prior. Investigators announced in 1999 that they had identified the remains of 8 men found on Baumeister's property. Then Hamilton County Sheriff Sergeant Eddie Moore told the media in June of 1999 that Baumeister, known Baumeister's known victims were Johnny Bear, 20 of Indianapolis, Alan Wayne Brazard, 28 of Indianapolis, Roger Allen Goodlett, 33 of Indianapolis, Richard D. Hamilton, 20 of Indianapolis, Stephen Hale, 26 of Indianapolis, Jeff Allen Jones, 31 of Indianapolis, Michael Kieran, 46, missing since March of 1995, Manuel Resendez, 31, Lafayette, missing since August of 1993. And here recently, within the past week, another investigation has opened up out at the Baumeister farm out in Westfield. They located apparently some more human remains and 20 other additional locations that might have remains located at, because they had 10 canine dogs went out to the property. It was, I would say it was a week this past Sunday they were out there, and apparently they found some more remains. But what I'm planning to do is go over the timeline with you guys and give you some information that might be helpful to some families out there that are missing loved ones between mid 80s, the late 80s to mid to early 90s, that you guys might want to go get DNA testing done so they can identify some remains that have been found over the last 30 years, or less than 30 years, I would say. So this is just the beginning of the Herb Baumeister. This is just going to be part one. It's only a few minutes long, guys, I know, but this is who I'm going to be covering. Part two, we're going to go into a type of a timeline, and then I'm going to play a couple videos, and then I'm going to have an interview with a private investigator, what led to the tip of Baumeister, and then we're going to do another video, probably maybe in part three, if I get to part three, on the recent search that's been taking place out on Herb Baumeister's property out there in Westfield. So once again, I just wanted to come on here real quick and do a quick live to advise people that I'll be covering the Herb Baumeister case since the case has been reopened. Well, I shouldn't say reopened. It's been an open investigation ever since, because there's been remains that have not been identified yet. So as far as I'm concerned, the case is closed because the gentleman is no longer with us. He can't stand trial for his crimes. So basically, I'm just going to go into part two within the next day or two and go over a little bit of the timeline and let you know about a little more about Herb Baumeister. But I appreciate everybody's time. Check this video out. Even though it's only about 10 minutes long, it'll let you know what we're working on at this point in time. But I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. Even though the Delphi case is a little bit slow and quiet at this point in time, we are going to work on some other cases. So at this point in time, I'm going to say peace out. One love to everybody. Love y'all. Hope to see you soon. Take care.